In today's episode, I speak about the power of consistency. This comes up with my clients again and again. The question is, what should I consistently do? What are my day-to-day tasks? Hello and welcome to the Successful, Sensitive and Intuitive Entrepreneur podcast. My name is Lydia Sophia Wilmsen and I am an intuitive success mentor for sensitive entrepreneurs. In this podcast, I speak about the challenges sensitive and intuitive entrepreneurs face. I offer you new perspectives and solutions, as well as experiences of other entrepreneurs. Plus, I speak about my personal experience of being a highly sensitive person who has successfully built and scaled 2 businesses. All of that with the goal to make you and your business even more successful in your very unique and authentic way. Have fun and enjoy. And a pattern that often shows up is that they are quite consistent, however, on the wrong things. Therefore, I will first explain what is meant by consistency, wherein the power lies, like what is the power of consistency, and then what you should actually be consistent on and what not anymore. What is consistency? The word consistency basically comes from Latin and means something that consists of or something that persists. You do something consistently, you don't do it once. You do it again and again. It persists. The act of doing it persists. You can be consistent in all areas, in business and life, doing marketing consistently, being consistent in outreach, doing sports, having a weekly date night with your partner, eating healthy every day. It just means you keep doing it. There is a pattern behind it. And there is no number attached to it, like posting every day or sending emails every day. There is no need that it happens daily. You can be consistent, for example, when you reach out once a week, consistently. It is the repetition which counts. Now, what is the power of consistency? Consistency creates momentum, and you hone in on the compounding effect. What do I mean with compounding effect? The compounding effect is the principle of reaping huge rewards from a series of small, smart choices. Those were not my words. This is a quote by Darren Hardy. So the idea behind the compounding effect is that small, consistent action over a longer period of time has much greater payoffs than intensely large but short changes. And that means the power lies in the small acts done consistently instead of the one huge leap you only take once. When we speak financially, compound interest makes a sum of money grow at a faster rate than simple interest. Because in addition to earning returns on the money you invest initially, you also earn returns on those returns at the end of every compounding period. That is just a little financial talk here. We won't go deeper into that. And this compounding effect this compounding effect you can apply to anything in life and business. It means that you do something and then you don't start at 0 the next day. You start from the higher energetic level you have achieved the day before. Sending out a newsletter once will not do much. Sending out a newsletter a week consistently creates connection with your audience. It builds on the weeks and months where you already have done the same. And this is what I mean with momentum. This is how momentum is being built. The energy builds up. The energy piles up, basically. You don't start at 0 every day. You build on what you have done before. And that is the real power behind consistency. And this happens everywhere in business. When you start out, you don't have huge traction, usually. You don't see a lot of results initially. And this is especially hard for the impatient out there because they expect to see evidence of their work directly. And instead, you put in the work, and that means doing the work without having the results and then it builds and builds and builds. And after that, you increase your results rapidly because the consistency you have put in pays off. And this can shift from one day to the other. There is not a mathematical number or something you can calculate. This is very often, like, you can't really calculate that. It really can kick in on a day you didn't expect it at all. And this also applies to the work you do when it comes, for example, to journaling. This is what I explain my clients. It is not that you journal once for 5 hours and then you're done. It's the habit. It's the daily practice, or bi-daily or bi-weekly or whatever you do, It really is that you do it consistently, and then also journaling, the energy behind it, it multiplies. I really don't get tired to explain the energetics behind it. It is not only the action you do, it is the energetic shift you create. You signal to your audience or your partner or your body or wherever you put in the energy consistently that you mean it, that you are in it for the long game, that you are committed. And that basically causes a ripple effect. That causes a reaction in your outside world. Now, what should you be consistent on? I'm really not the one telling you to write every day or to do whatever you don't really like every day. There is not one size fits all application of consistency. You really have to understand that. What person X needs to be consistent on does not mean it is the right thing for person Y. So I don't have a strategy for you that you have to follow. You are unique, so is your life and your business, and therefore the things to be consistent on. However, I have 3 key aspects I want to share with you today. First and foremost, be consistent on commitment. Whatever this translates to, be committed to your desires, to your goals, to your clients, to your values, and in your life, to your loved ones. And see what this will translate to in consistent aligned actions. Really, show up for your audience because you love them and want to be of service to them. It is not about you, it's actually about them. And then the question becomes insignificant, how often you should do this. You are in it for the long game. It's not really of interest if you post once per week or once per day. I'm speaking about social media. It is, key here, it is the intention and the energy behind you showing up. Like, do you get me? You can spam people and not make sales with it. Or you can send out one powerful newsletter a month and make hundreds of thousands of euros, dollar, or whatever of it. As I so often say, less doing, more being. And let me repeat, it is the intention and energy behind you showing up. It is not the frequency per se. If your intention and your energy and the question like, how do I want to be of service, gives you a number saying like, post every second day, go do that. However, it is not because someone tells you you need to do it that way. It comes out of your own alignment. This is the only way how you can answer what your consistent actions are. The next key aspect is that you need to be consistent on what you love doing. I recently had this conversation with one of my best friends, and she actually thought she had to do Facebook live streams, even though she despised them. She thought, like everyone says, live streams are the best, you need to do them, you get huge traction, you get huge visibility, blah, blah, blah. And she actually thought I would tell her off. I would say like, go do that now. Walk through your fear and do that now. But there is a big difference between going through something, going through fear towards something you really want to do, or going through fear for something you really hate doing. Like, that's stupid. So I just laughed and I really said, of course not, please. Her energy and her joy lies in other things. So this is the way to go. She loves doing Instagram stories and stuff like that, and creating, like being very creative. And Facebook Lives are just not her thing. But people still don't get this. And this is not only for people who are starting out in business. This is in every area of life and business, that people think they have to follow one thing, even though they don't really like it. And they don't understand that they have to find the thing or the things that light them up, that totally like turn them on, that bring them pleasure. And this then needs to find its own consistency. So you really need to find what you love to do and do that consistently. Consistency means to keep doing what feels good. And of course, sometimes that means getting started is uncomfortable, is hard, even though you know you will feel pleasure once you have done it. So this is the difference. Either you do something and it's really hard to begin with, but then it's still not nice to keep doing it. Or you know it's just the beginning, and you just have to get out of bed and do it basically, and then you will totally be lit up doing it. That still happens for me sometimes with coaching sessions. I know that coaching sessions bring me immense pleasure. They bring me immense joy and gratitude and gratefulness. And still, sometimes I'm so comfortable. I'm sitting around somewhere not doing any sensible or anything that brings meaning to anything. And still I'm so lethargic, but like comfortable, that I really think like, oh my goodness, I don't really want to do that coaching session now. However, I know they light me up. So I just have to get my butt off the couch and start doing it. And then it's amazing. So this is just the initial moment where you have to put energy in to get going. Or other examples. Ever remember not wanting to work out, and when you just got over the first moment, it was the best feeling ever? Or when you were tired, not really interested in having sex with your partner, and then you two got started and got into the game, and it turned into an amazing experience. We human beings, we are really comfortable, and we want to spend the least energy necessary. Our bodies are made like that. So in order to get going, we initially have to summon a higher input of energy. And this is why sometimes it takes a push to get started, which does not mean you don't want to do it. Do you understand me? Overcome that first feeling of convenience and comfort. And then it lights you up and you totally love doing it. So the question is, what turns you on in business? Do more of that. For example, I love talking, so I have my podcast. Makes total sense, right? I show up for you ladies and guys twice a week. This is my commitment. I also love doing Facebook Lives once in a while. I do them. And I do posts every now and then. However, for example, I don't write blog posts anymore. Later on in business, I might implement this, but being done via a copywriter. I don't fancy writing blog posts anymore, so I don't do it. Do what you freaking love, and this will work. Because it is not the consistency that counts, it is the energetically aligned consistency. Because you also have to understand, you can keep doing things you don't enjoy, you don't like. But focusing on that, putting energy on that, will create more situations in your life where you have to do things you don't like. So better choose wisely now where you put your energy and your focus in order to create more of that. And people still don't get it. You really can create your life however you desire. You really can. So start doing the things which light you up and do those consistently. Now, the last point I wanted to mention, the last key aspect, is be consistent on energy work, on taking care of yourself, your body, your mental and physical health, on relaxation, on joy and pleasure in life. And there is no excuse, and there is no exemption for that. There, I don't tell you, do this like once a month or something. This is actually a daily practice. At least from my perspective on life and my worldview. You can obviously see that differently. If you do it daily, then this will benefit every area of your life. If you're in a miserable place because you don't take care of yourself, this will translate into your business and relationships. Focus on being over doing. They are actually equal. However, we here in Western society have a heavy leaning to all things doing. And this is why we need to basically balance it out with more being, because we are not used to it. We are not wired like that. And this is why we have massive problems as well. And if you have no idea what energy work and what taking care of yourself means, really take some time to figure that out. Especially if you have been overworking and overwhelming. Start putting energy just in the thought into the question of what would make me feel good. And the more you ask that question, the more you will get answers. So just start focusing on that area in your life, on taking care of yourself, on energy work for yourself, on working on your emotions, on your emotional health, your mental health. And just with putting time and energy into that, more answers will come to you and more thoughts on how to actually create that or how to actually take care of yourself. And all of that implies what not to do anymore. And with that, I mean overworking, coming from a place of lack, of like, oh my goodness, it's not enough. Lack creates more lack. And coming from a place of heavily doing. Coming from a place of must and shoulds. Let go of those shoulds and musts. Consistency is key, but not for the sake of it. Not because you need to be consistent and you have to and you must do this and that. No, those are massive limitations and you can create your life however you desire it. So this is my take on consistency for you. The power of consistency is that it creates momentum and that you hone in on the compounding effect. And what you actually should be consistent on means be consistent on commitment, first and foremost, then on what you love doing, and number 3, on taking care of yourself, on the energy work, because this is the foundation for everything else. When you're rooted in yourself, when you're at peace and at ease with yourself, when you are not depleted but fulfilled, when you have filled up all your containers, your emotional well-being, your financial health, your mental health, all of those containers, if it's filled up, you can give so much more. And everything you do will be so much more powerful. And if you're only consistent in sending out that one email a month, you can turn around your business with that, It is not about doing it in high frequency, more. No, it is about filling up what you're doing with high amounts of energy. And then you can do less and less and less. Did you like this podcast episode? Then I would be super grateful if you gave me a 5-star rating and review on iTunes. And please subscribe to the podcast and share it with people who you know can benefit from it. You can find all links to my social media profiles, my website and contact form in the show notes. And whenever you're done playing on your current level and ready to embrace a life of more, ready to unapologetically go for your biggest dreams in business and life, then message me and I'll get back to you with more info on how to make it happen. Thank you for listening, and until the next episode, much love to you, Lydia.